Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We're about to start the event. We would appreciate if you could put your phones on silent if you cannot switch them off. Thank you. We will start in about 5 minutes. Please put your phones on silent mode. Thank you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your attention as we go through a few health and safety guidelines. For your well-being and comfort, please note there is no smoking in this hall. For your convenience, the restrooms are located at the back of the hall. This hall is equipped with 4 emergency exits. The registration center has 3 emergency exits, which lead to the muster point beside the car park. In the unlikely event of a fire, please do not panic. Evacuate the hall using the nearest exit, get to the muster point, and wait for further instructions. Do not take risks or return to the hall for any reason until authorized to do so. Emergency medical support is in place, and our hosts are on hand to assist as needed. Watch out for trip hazards, and please be safety conscious while you move around. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask one of our hosts, and report any incident to the MTN control room on 080-3200-1630. Thank you once again for your time and attention. Do have a lovely day.
It's okay. It's okay. national anthem, please. Where is Maurice? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to the annual general meeting of our company, MTN Nigeria Communications PLC. I'd like to express my thanks to all persons present and the sacrifice you've made in attending this meeting. We have also made provisions for virtual access and streaming services to ensure that shareholders and directors who are unable to be physically present also follow the proceedings at this meeting. The registrar has circulated the link to shareholders who have provided email addresses. The link can also be found on our website. The quorum required by Article 15 of our company Articles of Association is shareholders holding 75% of shareholding of the company present in person or by proxy, or if a shareholder is a company duly represented. I will request that the registrar confirms that we have the required quorum to convene the meeting.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, directors, and esteemed shareholders. My name is Augustina Obi, and I represent Coronation Registrars Limited, registrars to MTN Nigeria Communications PLC. We have 319 members physically present and 256 members represented by proxies, with a total of 17,273,985,719 shareholding, representing 84.86% of the issued share capital of MTN Nigeria Communications PLC. With this information, we hereby confirm that a quorum has been formed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Obi. This meeting is therefore duly convened and properly constituted. Accordingly, I hereby declare the meeting open. May I ask one of the shareholders, Deaconess Josephine Ewitat, to say the opening prayers.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mrs. Josephine Wittert. Please, can we bow our head for prayers? Almighty God, Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, we thank you for this day. We thank you for gifts of life. We thank you for your grace and enablement that you have made all of us to come and witness this 2023 annual general meeting. We thank you, Lord, for sustaining MTN over the years, in spite of the challenges. Indeed, today is the day the Lord has made. We will all rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you, Almighty God, for the life of the board of directors. We thank you for executive management. We thank you for staff and all stakeholders that have made immense contribution towards the great achievement that MTN achieved in the last 1 year and shall be sustained. We pray it can only be by the grace of the Almighty God. Therefore, we commit this meeting into your mighty hand. He said, Father, Lord, come and take absolute control. Come and reign. Let your spirit of wisdom, understanding, revelation, and knowledge come upon us. And at the end of the day, deliberations that will be taken shall richly take MTN from glory to glory in the mighty name of Jesus. This meeting is declared open in the name of the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Wittert. Before proceeding to the formal aspect of this meeting, I wish to inform our esteemed shareholders that the financial statements of the year ended 31st December 2022, as well as the notice of the annual general meeting, were issued within regulatory timelines. The notice was published in the Punch newspaper and the Business Day newspapers on Friday, 17th March 2023, and also in the Guardian, Vanguard newspapers on Tuesday, 28th March 2023. The electronic version of the annual report was also circulated via email to shareholders who provided their email addresses to the company registrar. Hard copies were dispatched to those without email addresses. The annual report is also available online and can be downloaded from our website at www.mtnonline.com. I wish to respectfully now introduce you to members of your company's board of directors. The biographical details of all directors can be found on pages 117 to 125 of the annual report. On my immediate right is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Carl Toriola. Next to him is Dr. Omobola Johnson, Non-Executive Director. Next to her is Mr. Michael Ajuku, Independent Non-Executive Director. Then Mr. Muhammad Ahmad, Independent Non-Executive Director. To my left is Mr. Modukwe Kadiri, Chief Financial Officer and Executive Director. Also, we have Mr. Abubakar Mahmoud, SAN, Non-Executive Director. In addition to the following The following directors have joined the meeting virtually. Mr. Ridwan Gesant, Independent Non-Executive Director. Mr. Ferdinand Mulman, Non-Executive Director. Mr. Raf Mupita, Non-Executive Director. Mrs. Ifweko Omogui Okaru, Non-Executive Director. Ms. Solo Molefe, Non-Executive Director. And Mr. Andrew Ali, Non-Executive Director. And we have Mr. Jens Schulz-Bochum, Non-Executive Director. And Mr. Mazen Munro, Non-Executive Director. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Ernest Ndukwe, Chairman of your company. To my left is Mrs. Uto Ukpana, our company secretary. Shareholders' representatives on the Statutory Audit Committee are also present at this meeting. They are Mr. Oye Hassan Odukale, Chairman, Colonel Ayegbeni Peters, Member, Mr. Nona Awo, Member. The firm of Ernst & Young, our external auditors, is represented by Mr. Fumi Ogunlowo and Mr. Surakat Alani. Our registrar, Coronation Registrar Limited, is represented by Mrs. Augustina Obi. The firm of KPMG Advisory Services, our independent consultant on board appraisal, is represented by Mrs. Tomi Adepoju and Ms. Theodora Obiajulo. Also in attendance are representatives of Nigerian Communications Commission, Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Nigerian Exchange Regulation Limited. For the NCC, we have Mrs. Chizwa White. For Security and Exchange Commission, we have Mrs. Kelechi Azubike Luke. Okay, it's been, and also Miss Skin Jolomi. Nigerian Exchange Regulation Limited, NGX, is represented by Mr. Godstime Iwenekai. Please be informed that the Register of Directors shareholding is available for inspection during the meeting in compliance with the provisions of Section 301, subsection 8 of CAMA. The register of attendance at the meetings of the board during the period under review is also available for inspection in accordance with Section 284, subsection 2 of CAMA. The record of attendance of directors at meetings can be found on pages 100 to 110 of the annual report. I now call on the company secretary to read the notice of the meeting. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Okezie Boniface. Chairman, I'm making this observation. We are not seeing the directors, most of us sitting at the end of this boys' quarter. You know, those who are sitting in the flat, they are seeing direct to the directors. I think this screen should be removed by the side so we can see the directors that are attending this meeting here. It's very, very important. And Mr. Chairman, you said the register of directors and meeting, those attendants are ready. So you raise it up and show us that it's there, and you let it down. That's the normal procedure. Thank you.
Ms. Okezie, your point is noted, but if you have your book with you, I said so you can look at the book yourself. I don't need to raise it up. I raise it up when I'm presenting the accounts. Company Secretary, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The notice of annual general meeting. Notice is hereby given that the annual general meeting, the AGM of MTN Nigeria Communications PLC, the company, will be held on Tuesday, 18th April 2023 at the Balmoral Convention Center, Federal Palace Hotel, 6 to 8 Amadou Bello Way, Victoria Island, Lagos, at 11 a.m. to transact the following business. A, ordinary business. To lay before the members of the company the audited financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31 December 2022, and the reports of the directors, auditors, and the audit committee thereon. 2, to declare a dividend. 3, to elect Mr. Mazen Nrue as a director of the company. 4, to re-elect the following directors retiring by rotation. 4.1, apologies, it says 3 there. Dr. N.S. Ndukwe, OFR, who's 74 years old. 3.2, Mr. Carl Toriola. 4.3, Mr. Modupe Kadri. 4.4, Mr. Ferdinand Mooman. 4.5, Mrs. Ifweko Omoigui Okaru. To authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors of the company. 6, to disclose the remuneration of managers of the company. 7, to elect members of the statutory audit committee. 8, special business. To consider and if thought fit, to pass the following as an ordinary resolution of the company. 8, that general mandate be given to the company to enter into recurrent transactions with related parties for the company's day-to-day operations, including the procurement of goods and services on normal commercial basis in compliance with the Nigerian Exchange Limited, NJX rules governing transactions with related parties as interested persons. To consider and if thought fit, to pass the following subjoined resolutions 9.1 to 9.3 as special resolutions of the company. 9.1, that the company's 2 subsidiary entities, A, Momo Payment Service Bank Limited, Momo PSB, and B, Yellow Digital Financial Services Limited, YDFS, be restructured by way of a merger, the merger, or such other method, subject to obtaining all requisite regulatory and corporate approvals. 9.2, that the Board of Directors be and is hereby authorized to engage the boards of Momo PSB and YDFS and finalize the terms of the merger and negotiate all transaction documents, including the merger term sheets, merger implementation agreements, and the scheme of merger necessary for the implementation of the merger. 9.3, that all steps and or actions taken by the Board of Directors in connection with the merger be and are hereby ratified. To consider and if thought fit, to pass each of the following subjoined resolutions 10A and subjoined resolutions 10B as special resolutions of the company. 10A, that in connection with the dividend to be proposed by the company in respect of the year ended 31st December 2022, FY 2022, 10A1, shareholders entitled to receive cash dividends be offered a right of election to receive ordinary shares in the company, the new ordinary shares, in lieu of cash dividend, and that such ordinary shares be credited as fully paid and when issued shall rank pari passu in all respects with the company's existing ordinary shares. 10A2, election to receive new ordinary shares in lieu of cash dividend must be exercised by shareholders on or before the 11th of April 2023. 10A3, the ordinary shares to be received by shareholders shall be determined by their cash dividend entitlement, divided by a reference share price, which reference share price shall be the average closing price of the company's shares for 5 consecutive trading days starting on 28th March 2023 on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange Limited as guided by market price. The resulting number of new ordinary shares shall be rounded down to the nearest whole number of shares in order to deal with any fractured shares which may arise. 10A4, the company's share capital be increased by the exact number of shares which will be required to accommodate the new ordinary shares to be issued to shareholders following completion of the processes set out in resolutions 1 to 3 above. 10A5, further to the above approvals, the directors may and are hereby authorized to pass the relevant resolutions: A, increasing the company's share capital by the specific number of new ordinary shares required for allotment to shareholders who may elect to receive ordinary shares in the company in lieu of cash dividends, and B, allotting such said number of new ordinary shares to relevant shareholders. 10A6, that after the increase in the company's share capital, an allotment of the new ordinary shares to the shareholders in accordance with the resolutions in 1, 4, and 5 above, Clause 6 of the Memorandum of Association and Article 2 of the Articles of Association of the company be amended as necessary to reference the company's new issued share capital. 10A7, the directors be and are hereby authorized to take all such lawful steps, pass all requisite resolutions, and do all such other lawful acts and or things as may be necessary and or incidental for giving effect to and or implementing the above resolutions. 10B, that in connection with the dividends to be declared by the company from time to time, commencing from the 2023 financial year, future dividend, and if so determined by the directors in respect of any such financial year or other financial period. 10B1, shareholders entitled to receive cash dividends be offered a right of election to receive new ordinary shares in lieu of cash dividends, and that such new ordinary shares be credited as fully paid, and when issued shall rank pari passu in all respects with the company's existing ordinary shares. 10B2, such election to receive new ordinary shares in lieu of cash dividends must be exercised by shareholders in such mode and within such timelines as are communicated to shareholders from time to time. 10B3, the new ordinary shares to be received by shareholders shall be determined by their cash dividend entitlements using such reference price and or other applicable calculation methodology approved by the directors and communicated to shareholders in respect of a specific future dividend. The resulting number of new ordinary shares shall be rounded down to the nearest whole number of shares in order to deal with any fractional shares which may arise. 10B4. The resolutions in paragraphs 10A 4 to 10A7 above in respect of the financial year 2022 dividend shall also apply to each future dividend. The notes. Thank you very much, shareholders. Mr. Chairman, the shareholders.
Take it as read, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sukmana. Voting on items on the agenda at this meeting will be by poll, except for item 7. However, distinguished shareholders, may I request your consent that agenda item 7, which deals with the election of members to the Statutory Audit Committee, be taken after agenda item 10. Is that okay? Thank you very much. I will also request that anyone present and making comments, asking questions, or seconding motions should speak clearly through the microphone and commence by stating name in full. We now proceed with item 1 on the agenda, which is to receive the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2022 and the reports of the directors, auditors, and audit committee thereon. May I call on Ms. Afumi Oglo of Ernst & Young to present auditor's report on the financial statements of the company. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the Board of Directors of MTN Communication Nigeria PLC, distinguished shareholders. The auditor's report is on page 137
to 141 of the financial statement. May I crave the indulgence of distinguished shareholders to read a summarized version of the auditor's report. Thank you very much. Independent auditor's report to the members of MTN Nigeria Communication PLC. Sorry, before I start, my name is Efumi Ogunlowo. I'm the engagement partner in respect of this audit, and I have with me Mr. Alani Surakat, who is the second partner on the engagement. Report on the audit of the consolidated and separate financial statements. Opinion. We have audited the consolidated and separate financial statements of MTN Nigeria Communications PLC, the company, and its subsidiary, together the group, which comprise the consolidated and separate statement of financial position as at 31st December 2022, and the consolidated and separate statement of profit or loss, the consolidated and separate statement of other comprehensive income, the consolidated and separate statement of changes in equity, and the consolidated and separate statement of cash flows for the year that ended, and notes to the consolidated and separate financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the accompanying consolidated and separate financial statements give a true and fair view of the consolidated and separate financial position of the group and the company as at 31st December 2022, and its consolidated and separate financial performance and consolidated and separate cash flows for the year that ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards, the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, and in compliance with the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act No. 6 of 2011. Basis for opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with international standards on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the consolidated and separate financial statements section of our report. We are independent of the group and the company in accordance with the International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, including International Independent Standards, ISBA Code, together with the ethical requirements that are relevant to our audit of the consolidated and separate financial statements in Nigeria. And we have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with these requirements and the ISBA Code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. I will proceed to the last page. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. In accordance with the requirement of the 5th schedule of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, we confirm that 1, we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. 2, in our opinion, proper books of account have been kept by the group and the company insofar as it appears from our examination of those books. 3, the consolidated and separate statement of financial position, the consolidated and separate statement of profit or loss, and the consolidated and separate statement of other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of account. And 4, in our opinion, the consolidated and separate financial statements have been prepared in accordance with the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, so as to give a true and fair view of the state of affairs and the financial performance of the company and its subsidiaries. This report is signed by my good self, Fumi Ogunlowo, on behalf of Ernst & Young, Lagos, Nigeria, and is dated 31st of January 2023. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ogunlowo. I now invite Mr. Oye Hassan Odukale, the chairman of the Statutory Audit Committee, to read the Audit Committee's report, which can be found on page 135 of the annual report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To members of the board of MTM and shareholders of the company, in accordance with the provision of section 404, subsection 7 of the Company and Allied Matters Act 2020, the members of the Statutory Audit Committee of MTM Nigeria Communication PLC hereby provides their report for the year ended December 31st, 2022 as follows. We have examined our statutory functions under section 404 subsection 7 of CAMA 2020 and acknowledge the cooperation of management and staff in conduct of our responsibilities. We are of the opinion that the accounting and reporting policies of the group are in accordance with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices. The scope and planning of both the external and internal audits for the year ended 31st December 2020 were satisfactory and reinforce the group internal audit control systems. We have considered the external auditor's management letter for the year and are satisfied with the management responses to the external auditor's recommendation and that the management are taking appropriate steps to address the issue raised by the auditors. The external auditors confirmed they received necessary cooperation from management in course of their statutory duties and the scope of their work was not restricted in any way. On behalf of the Statutory Audit Committee, I would like to read out the names of the members of the committee. Mr. Noah Awo, representing shareholders. Kono Aigbemi Peters, representing shareholders. My good self also representing shareholders, Oye Hassan Odukale. I'm from the board, Ridwal Ganat, independent non-executive director, and Mrs. Ifeko Okwaru. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hassan Odukale. Distinguished shareholders, with your permission, the director's report, which can be found on pages 130 to 133 of the annual report, will be taken as read. Thank you very much. At this point, we'll be pleased to take questions if there are any. And I invite shareholders to indicate if they want to ask questions, and thereafter responses will be provided.
Mr. Chairman, here.
The man in yellow, yeah? Yellow and blue.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors, and distinguished shareholder, as you are welcome to this meeting. I want to go to my question directly. My name is Okunla Emmanuel Lariwaju, Chairman of Shareholder Association Akure. I want to tell you that late distribution of financial report by the registrars is an exception. Number two, I also want to let you know that the unclaimed dividend that although it was reduced in 2002, from 2021 to 2002 to 632 million, It is also an exception because it is a great amount of unpaid dividends in our books. Thirdly, I want also to let you know that the financial costs of the company is very high, because if you look at the financial cost, comparing to the revenue, total revenue of the company is about 10.58%, which is also on the high side. Because if you had that financial cost to the revenue, I mean, what the shareholder is taking home today will be greater than what we are taking. Then I want to commend the board for the high network of stakeholders on the board. You can see all their biography on pages 118 to 128. Then on page 196, you can see that you told the shareholders that there's a provision for other provision or for litigation provision and other provision. I know that all these two can be reclassified because other provision is not well stated. It can be classified according to accounting terms. And lastly, I want to tell you that the dividend policy of the company is good and we should keep it up. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
This way. Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors here present, my well-respected colleague, shareholders. My name is Kabir Abdullahi Tambari, shareholder from Sokoto State. I would like to use this opportunity to congratulate our board and my colleague shareholders for attending meeting physically. I know all this while the meeting is going COVID, because of COVID, and no more COVID. Today you see how the shareholders are in full house. And some of us are here since early in the morning waiting for the accreditation. I would like to use this opportunity to be in brief, to congratulate ourselves for declaring the final dividend of 10 naira. We all know the situation this country is facing in terms of the economy, and not only in Nigeria, all over the world. I know my chairman, the kind of contribution he is doing when he is in NCC, Nigerian Communication Commission, up to the time he come into the board of Access Bank. I know what he contributes, and now he is in MTN Nigeria PLC. So with this wonderful achievement he has on communications, I hope we will see a lot of changes, a lot of improvements in terms of our dividends. We shareholders, what we are after is capital appreciation and dividends. So I believe, God willing, our shares will continue raising up to be where Airtel is now. Airtel started from 300, but see where Airtel is, 1,000 plus. Our shares is trading 200 naira plus. We hope it will still go up. Also, I would like to commend our board of directors for following the corporate governance. From 96 up to 100 plus, you will see the board attendance, the board committees of our board of directors, how it's going excellent. So I hope shareholders will clap for them. For the good attendance they are doing, it shows sign they are doing their job well and they are representing us. Thank you very much and God bless us.
Okay, let me take a lady on this side.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me start from the beginning. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, other board members here persons, the regulatory authorities here persons, my fellow distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barrister Adetutu Shinobola. I am the president of Highly Favored Shareholders. Mr. Chairman, I have some observations, questions, comments, and suggestions on our MTN, what is it called? On MTN 2022 annual report. With your kind permission, I will quickly run through them.
Please.
Number one, when I married the key financial highlights on page 32 and 33 with operating results and the dividends on page 130, I observed the following. Revenue grew by 21.6% from 1.7 trillion naira to 2.01 trillion naira in the year under review. Operating profits grew from 584.7 billion naira to 733.3 billion naira in the year under review. Profit before taxation grew from 436.7 billion naira to 533.9 billion naira in the year under review. Profit for the year grew by 20.2% from 298.7 billion naira to 358.9 billion naira in the year under review. Profits attributable to the owners of the company grew from 298.7 billion naira to 361.5 billion naira in the year under review. I observed a growth in our turnover and profit in the year under review. I just want to seize this opportunity to encourage the board and the management board for a job well done and to implore them to do more. Number two, on page 36, recent awards and recognitions. I observed that we have 15 awards to our credit in the year under review. This is commendable. Please keep it up. From page 96 to 111, attendance at the board meetings and board committee meetings is good but can be better. We need to improve on it. On page 117, the beautiful faces of the board of directors. I observe that we have only 3 ladies in the board of 16 directors. This is ridiculous. This is unacceptable on gender balancing. We have to improve on it going forward. On page 126, the beautiful faces of the executive management. I observe that we have 8 ladies in the executive management of 17, which amounts to 47%. This is commendable. Please keep it up. On page 131, directors' interest in shares. I observe that only 6 directors out of 16 listed have our shares attached to their names directly or indirectly. Why? On the same page 131, board and key management changes. I observe that Mr. Charles Molapsi resigned from our board on the 31st of March 2022, and to fill the vacuum created by his exit, the board appointed Mr. Mogzen, let me go up a bit, and Ms. let me just read. What do you mean by that? I observed that Mr. Mozen, I don't know how to pronounce that one. Okay, on the 1st of June 2022. So also Mr. Cyril Elok, our risk and compliance officer, resigned on the 5th of November, year 2022. And Ms. Obi Uboma was appointed in his stead. I want to seize this opportunity to thank Mr. Charles Molapsi and Mr. Cyril Locke for their meritorious services to our company, and to wish them the very best in their present and future endeavors. I would also like to seize this opportunity to welcome Mr. Mose Mwe and Ms. Obi Ugoma to our company and wish them a fruitful tenure in office. On page 132, substantial interest in shares. I observe that we have a major shareholder and minority shareholders in our company in the year under review. I would like to know who is representing the interest of the minority shareholders in our board. On the same page 132, charitable gifts. I observe that our CSR in the year under review centered on health, education, and youth empowerment. Next time, we should extend it to social welfare and community development. On page 144, consolidated and separate statements on financial position. I want to limit myself to the group position. Trade and other receivables under current assets went up from 127.2 billion naira to 191.5 billion naira in the year under review. What are the modalities in place? What are the modalities in place to collect this debt from our customers to the BRS minimum so that it will not accrue to a bad debt that will be written off? Trade and other receivables under current liabilities also went up from 443.9 billion naira to 514.9 billion naira in the year under review. How do we intend to pay our creditors this debt? Lastly, I observe that we have used our annual report judiciously to advertise all our products. This is commendable. Please keep it up. Thanks, and God bless you richly for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
I think she has spoken for everybody. Okay, I'll take the guy in, then after I come this side.
Thank you, our amiable chairman. My name is Tuji Bamidele. I represent Starlight Shareholder Association of Nigeria. I'm a member of G8 Shareholder in Africa. Permit me, Chairman, I sincerely appreciate the board and management team for job well done. We really appreciate you. Because at times you come with a preparation to come to the floor of NSC, we are looking at whether it's not, but you are listing board, and you create a space for people to have a benefit from your side. We really appreciate you. Let me start by the area of dividends. At least the share of 2 kobo and have a 10 naira dividend is very wonderful. We really appreciate you, and we expect you to give us more. But my question is what plan for sustainability of this dividend to move to the highest trend? Because we really appreciate it. Secondly, my chairman, when we are looking at the Resolution 9 and Resolution 10, I need some clearance in certain area. You have called for approval for the merger, and we need better explanation on that area. Resolution 10, you are called for increase in share capital if people call for it. But last year, we deleted on issue shares. I'm looking at it, we need better explanation when such kind of thing is in the mind of the board. Why are we need to delete your issue share? And now we still need to incur a lot of expenses to get new share and share to the people that have interest according to your resolution. I need better explanation, my chairman. Now, on the area of donation, excellent, we are really support you, and we expect you to move to the next level. But I will be very brief on certain area of my question because I will give other people to speak. Page 175, other operating expenses. My chairman, that page is a little bit loaded. And I need a little bit explanation of one or two areas there. 175, page 175. Now, I'm looking at the other expenses. The level of the other expenses at the bottom line increase, need better explanation. And so also maintenance costs. Permit me, Chairman, for giving all this one, we are ready to give all necessary support. Finally, there's a lot of technological development in the world this time around. What plan do you have? Because we appreciate for G5 at moving our business to the next level, but in other continents, there's a lot of new things that's going on. I want how you key to it, we'll be able to be a beneficiary on it. Please, we ready to give you all necessary support. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. Let me come this side, the man in red cap. I've done that side one. I'm coming.
Yes. First of all, I would like to say good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors, regulators present, my esteemed shareholders. My name is Comrade Jibuno Godfrey Uche. I am the National Coordinator, Youth Alliance Shareholders Association, and the National Youth Leader Shareholders of Nigeria. Now, Mr. Chairman, much has been said, but I just have some little things to say. First of all, Mr. Chairman, I would like to commend the board for the interim dividends and the final dividends. Yes, thank God for MTN. Towards the Christmas season, with the help of the interim dividends, people were able to enjoy it and plan very well for the Christmas. And now that you are giving us a final dividend of 10 naira, I say kudos to you all. Also, again, I would like to commend the audit committee meetings. I can see that they were all attended. Yes, it's when the board meets with the audit committee, they are able to brainstorm, and do very well. On CSR, Mr. Chairman, like what my former shareholder said, we talked about competition, quiz, health, education. But Mr. Chairman, please, I would also like us to go to orphanages, people, the less privileged, the disabled. Their little prayer will help us and it will take us to another level. Mr. Chairman, also again, I can see the board. They are mostly men. It's macho. I'm a man, yes, but sometimes we need our women beside us, yes. They are very important to us because why? Women are like the, how will I say, the oil to the ointment, the smoothing things. So please, Mr. Chairman, looking forward, if we want to have a new director on the team, I'll just only suggest that if we can please make it a woman. Last but not least, Mr. Chairman, we talked about Momo. Yes, we are going to partnership with Momo. What are we looking at? Are we doing internet banking? Because I remember when there was this cash problem, we had a lot of Momo agents, that were doing transfers and, money, and it actually helped, in this cashless policy and low cash. What is MTN doing towards that Momo? And how can we, explore that avenue outside the shores of Nigeria? Most countries now, what they do is they don't use cash like that. With the help of, the network and other things, we're able to do transactions, internet and all that. I would like us to also explore that. And I know when we do that, it will bring more money to the kitty. After all said and done, Mr. Chairman, thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name is still Comrade Jibuno Godfrey Uche.
Thank you. I'll take two more. Mr. Okezie here. And then there's somebody that's wearing a yellow tie, which is our color. I will get him to speak.
Mr. Chairman of the NTN Communication PAC, our directors are accompanied, fellow distinguished shareholder, good afternoon. Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to take your time because I want to run this meeting within 30 minutes, but the previous speakers have taken our time. If companies have done very well, we should just come here and pour a commune and praise them instead of going to asking question expenditure. A company that have grown this balance sheet of trillion, you spend about 80-something billion in running business. I think for me it's okay. The key is in this money we are getting in, how much accrued to shareholders. I think we have been 17.90-something kobo, and we have paid out almost 1560 dividend for the year, applying back to naira 19 kobo. The company have done well to the shareholders. Carl, I give you kudos with their team. You have fulfilled your promises. I want to commend the workforce, the staff have done very well. It seems that we pay everything we earn to shareholder. That's the promise he made last year, that we're going to work hard and pay more dividend. Whether the price is going up or not, I've said that our price underpriced. I don't know how much shares would Airtel parade on 50 kobo per share, but ours 2 kobo. Mr. Chairman, we have accommodated all Nigerians. How many shareholders does the other one have in their kitty? That is the issue. They can sell about 1,000 naira. How much dividend are they paying to the shareholder? Mr. Chairman, I know there's a room for improvement. We're looking for by come next year, our dividend will be shipped to 20 naira. It's doable. Carl and Co will do it. Kadri will do it. We made it possible. Yes, it's a challenge. I know it's laughing, but true to your word, you're going to do us so that we can be able to have higher dividend. Then now we remain to the market, either to push our price to 500 or 1,000. Because if the other one is paying 20 naira and the price is about 1,000 naira, so I don't see the reason why we should not overtake them when we have a higher dividend paying. We're starting from somewhere. Last year it was not 15 naira 60 kobo, so about 10 naira something. But today, in this very financial year, we paid out 15 naira 60 kobo. Kudos to MTN and the workforce. Mr. Chairman, on the notice convened the meeting, the request on page 8 there, like one of my brother pointed out, I am at loss. Why do we need to, in lieu of shares, with, instead of collecting your dividend cash, you opt out to subscribe for shares? Is it because of our foreign partners, their dividend accrued to them have not been repatriated? Their people are not getting exchange, the forex to transfer. Because if you want to do a script issue, we should go ahead and do bonus. Because if you look at the page 239, our volume of shares is about 27 billion shares. And by the time people opted out to take script issue instead of cash dividend, that also is going to increase our share in that order. Mr. Chairman, we should look into that. If there's no means for them to repatriate the money, because that's what happened with one other company in Nigeria, which is not in the communication sector, we should be able to watch that, so that we don't increase the volume of shares we issue out. We have that fear before. Mr. Chairman, I hope we are listening. I know this is a listening board. Let them find a means to take away their dividend. We should plead to CBN to be able to give them forex, because that's why foreigners are running away from Nigeria. When they invested here, to take away their proceeds, it becomes a problem. They now want to have a street issue to creep in. By the time issue of overvoluted share happening, it becomes a problem to us to service it. Having said that, Mr. Chairman, the new subsidiary created, are they not doing well? Why are we merging them? And if we are merging them, what is the benefit of the merger with the Momo and PSB? I know that's what a subsidiary we fought created, in which also dealing like bank today servicing. Because the bottom line is for them to contributing for the group, which will now use to pay the dividend at the end of the day. If they are doing very well, I don't think for merger is the option. Let them remain where they are. Since we have created them, except we didn't plan very well before, and maybe the other one is not doing very well. Now call for the merger. If the merger will optimize the growth we are looking for, so be it. Mr. Chairman, having said that, I want to also commend the corporate group for showcasing shareholders. You know, Mr. Chairman, last time around, I had the quarrel, challenges. I said, you do this annual report to do showcase advertisement. But today, shareholders have been featured prominently. I want to commend those in the corporate and the company secretariat for featuring shareholder prominently. On page 41, even though one of the shareholders was turned to be a choir master, he was conducting when he facing the group's Nordic committee. I said, when the donor were turned choir masters in that photograph, I think I want to applaud shareholders. Papa Yokbeji, all of them are featuring prominently. It's a good one. So by next year, since we have open meeting today, we must also capture those photographs and put it there. They'll be happy when they are home and invest in this company. If no other thing, because I don't think water have gone around now to give shareholders to drink. But when they go home with this annual report, they'll show their friends, I invested in this company, see my picture, and they are paying me good dividend. Come and buy in that company. Mr. Chairman, the secretariat have done very, very well. Even the registrar, I want to give them applaud. Because nobody will. Even those who say they don't receive in time, maybe their address is wrong, they should go and correct their address with the registrar. We have a performing good registrar who have been serving us very well. And when somebody done well, I will commend. If you are done bad, I will criticize at this floor. In every parameter, we have done very, very well. A round of applause to them, please.
Thank you. Next person.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Erin Folami Gafao. I want to start my comment from page 135 on Statutory Audit Committee report. So after the signature of the chairman, I think we should have list of the members behind the chairman's signature, so that if you are anywhere, you'll be able to review it and know the people that are on that audit committee. Then my next comment is on page 175. We have professional fees there. That was 33.5 billion. What's the breakdown? Because I have all these fees separately. So that professional fee, what was it about? Then thirdly, loss based on unauthorized transfers, 10.5 billion. It was explained that it's Momo, PSB, unauthorized transfer. So what sanctions have been put in place? And don't we have internal controls to safeguard that? 10 billion is a huge amount. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity.
Okay. Let me give this man, he's been raising his hand. Okay, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. The name is Abayomi Adebayo, representing Passionate Shareholders Association Register. Just one information, sir. And I'm saying this from experience, sir. That's why I want the board to please take note. I was opportune to be in a proxy meeting of a company last year. And I'm referring to the page 8, item 4, where we have a re-election. And what I noticed there is that on our board of 16 directors, we have just Mr. Toriola, the MD, and Mr. Kadri, the ED Finance, as the only ED on the board. And we are now putting our two executive directors forward for the election today. At the AGM I'm referring to,
an executive director was voted out through, what do you call it, by vote. So please, I think I want to suggest that it's not advisable, since we have more than enough non-executive director, we shouldn't put forward our executive directors for re-election. It can be dangerous. There can be people that will be telling in that post and want to use their huge shares to vote them out. Like somebody said, Mr. Kari and Mr. Kadri, they are the ones responsible to give us more dividend. So we need them so much on the board. Please take notes.
That is a very good point. I will look at it. Thank you very much, everyone. There have been so many questions. I'd like to give opportunity to the CEO to answer these questions. Perhaps when he's talking, he will also answer any other question that you might have, because time is spent. Mr. Torella, please.
Thank you, my distinguished chair and the board of directors, and thank you to all the shareholders, first of all, by participating in person. I need a microphone if I'm going to stand up. Yeah, I think I'll remain seated. Thank you. First of all, I want to extend my thanks to the entire team that has managed to put this AGM together in about 1 month shorter than the time that we used. No. I will stand up. Can we have some quiet in the house, please, so the proceedings can move forward? Thank you. Okay, if I may proceed. I'd like to express my sincere thanks to the Board of Directors, the Company Secretary, and our regulators for allowing us or enabling us to hold this AGM about a month earlier than we did last year, and that allows us to pay dividends earlier. I'll address the questions one by one. First of all, on Mr. Okwala Emmanuel spoke about the unclaimed dividends 2021 and the finance costs. I think at the end of this, there are 2 or 3 questions I would ask our Executive Director, CFO, to address under the finance costs and under provisions. We appreciate your various messages of support and congratulations. Thank you. On the comments made around comparisons to competitors. First, let me indicate that some of our competitors have actually listed their entire African operations on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So it's not an accurate comparison. This is MTN Nigeria PLC only. And as Mr. Nona Awo has always advocated, we focus on doing what's right, continuing to drive our commercial and financial performance and our dividends. And the market will over time recognize this. Madam Adetutu Shinobola, thank you for your comments around the financial statements and the 15 awards. The comments that came from you, and I'm not sure if it's Mr. Bamidele, around the gender balance on the board are well noted. The board has improved from near zero now to I think about 19% female gender balance, and it's something that we will continue to drive going forward. MTN has stated that we want complete gender balance across the organization by 2030. But directors are elected for a period of time. They have to serve for that period of time. And as vacancies are created, we will continue to focus on the gender balance, as we have in the executive committee, which is approximately 50% women at this point in time. There was also a question from Barrister Shionbola around the trade and other receivables that have increased from 127 to about 191 billion. Modupe, I'll remind you of those at the end of my comments. Mr. Bamidele referred to, first of all, express his appreciation around our dividends. He asked about the sustainability of our dividends. So let me just give some feedback on that. We've always made clear that we want to build, manage, and govern this organization in a sustainable way, and the Board of Directors has been focused on that. And how do we do this? First of all, we do it with very disciplined capital allocation and a continuous focus on our expense efficiency program. And under Ambition 2025, we continue to focus on customer services, the quality of service that we provide to our customers, And first and foremost, our connectivity business. Our connectivity business, which is voice and data. We're one of the few markets in the world that's still growing on voice revenue. So very, very few markets like that. So we continue to drive our voice revenue growth as data continues to contribute an increasing percentage to the overall revenue growth. We had well over 40% data revenue increase in the year, 2022. But having addressed the connectivity pillars, using things like 4G, 5G, and VoLTE, which we'll be launching sometimes this year, we are now focusing, as part of our Vision 2025, on new spaces. One of them is fintech, mobile money PSB, and the merger with YDFS, which I'll answer and address later. Another one is digital, and the other angles of infrastructure business, such as fiber, that we're looking at. Sorry, just checking my questions. Just to address the issue around the scrip dividend. The scrip dividend, which is part of the resolutions here, is a mechanism to allow shareholders who may prefer to take additional shares, for various reasons, part of which is currency availability, to retain value. And it's an indication of trust in the performance of MTN Nigeria by such shareholders, one of which, the largest of which, is MTN Group. Now, we're in a political transition time. The scrip dividends are a short-term mechanism to protect the value of those shareholders and ensure that there are no pressures in terms of currency repatriation during this transition. But MTN Group remains very firmly committed to further localization of this company, offering more shares to Nigerians of this company, and you will see that in the short to medium term. You'll see actions being executed in that space. So it's a short-term mechanism to enable that, and to enable other shareholders who are not really keen on taking their dividends to convert to further shares. Comrade Jibuna Godfrey Uche spoke about us contributing more to orphanages. You will see as part of our sustainability report, which will be released, and include within that the foundation report, that we continue to contribute extensively to the less privileged. Of course, we are focused in certain key areas, female empowerment, health, and education. And through that, we've impacted pretty much every local government in the country through one means or the other. In terms of Momo PSB, we focused extensively on governance and control systems in the past few months. And we're now going to focus increasingly on expanding our ecosystem and our customer base. Now, Momo PSB is primarily addressing the bottom of the pyramid. So the channels through which we're going to focus on is through USSD, but of course through apps as well. And you'll see quite a significant increase in market activity in that space in this coming year. We see ourselves as strategic partners to the federal government of Nigeria and the central bank to accelerate financial inclusion, hence why we focus on the bottom of the pyramid in that space. The other questions that I had, Mr. Boniface, I think I've addressed to some extent the scrip dividends, the forex pressures on the company. In terms of the merger of Momo PSB and YDFS, now we have two key licenses from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Our super agent license is under YDFS, while our Momo PSB license is under the Momo PSB entity. It's similar to having one company that has a 2G license and another company that has a 3G and 4G license. It only makes sense to merge those two entities so you can leverage the various assets, the various distribution networks that we've built in those entities into one single entity and use it to drive our entire fintech strategy going forward. So that's the driver of the resolution for that merger. There was a question on professional fees. I will leave Modupe to answer that. In terms of the loss due to unauthorized transfers of 10.5 billion naira, we did announce the challenges we faced on that through in Momo PSB. First of all, we've recovered a significant amount of the loss. We put control systems in place. We continue to pursue recovery of those sums through various channels and with various parties to prudently make provisions, to prudently declare the economic state of the company. We've made provisions for that. It doesn't mean we've written off our hopes of recovery. We are continuing all the actions we need to take to recover those losses, but we made provisions for it in line with the guidelines and regulations. So I want to give you assurance that is not all gone. And then Mr. Adebayo, I think that was a bit of advice in terms of putting up the only two executive directors for re-election. There are different governance models, but I think having such a large number of independent directors and non-executive directors actually is a very good governance mechanism to hold management to account. So I think I've quickly run through the majority of the questions. If I missed any, please forgive me. I would like to once again reiterate my thanks to the Board of Directors and the entire management team for a very, very stellar performance of MTN Nigeria in 2022 in the most difficult circumstances. Chair, may I hand to Modugwe to address those key financial questions? Thank you.
Do.
Right. Good morning or good afternoon, esteemed shareholder. Okay. Mainly the questions remaining have to do with the finance cost. And I think, yes, it may have gone up by 10.56, but we need to understand that it's mainly due to the IFRS 16 treatment. When you break down, or you see the breakdown on page 172, there are two main components there. So the IFRS 16 treatment of the leases and the FX losses. Now the FX losses is as a result of the depreciation of the Naira. So when you add those two things up, they actually have about 148 billion of the total 189 billion. In the same way, the trade and other receivables refers to the mainly the accruals on the site rentals. That's the major item there again. The site rentals itself is about 60% of our OPEX. So that's the amount you pay to the tower providers for providing power to the various BTSs powering that. Now, in terms of other operating expenses, well, if you look at it year on year, actually, the growth is about 20%. Inflation in the country average for 2022 was 19%. So again, that's due to the operating environment in the country. I take the point that we could probably unpack some of the breakdown of those things, but to be honest, there are so many sundry items. You're probably going to have another long page of operating expenses. And the thinking these days, in terms of presentation of financial reports, is the conciseness of the reports. But that said, it's about 20%, and the whole other expenses in that total is just 4% of the total in that light. I think in terms of provisions I think was mentioned in terms of the PSB incident or glitch. That was reported at the time. And of course, during the course of business, you also have receivables from other partners. You know, by law, we have our interconnect partners. Even if they owe us money, we have to go through the regulator. And it's only when the regulator gives us the permission to disconnect that we can take some actions to recover those amounts. So I think that's the bulk of the questions. If we did miss anything, please accept our apologies. Happy to take any other questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, distinguished shareholders, for your questions. And I'd like to thank the CFO and the MD for the responses provided. It is now time to vote. As I stated earlier, voting on items on the agenda, except for item 7, will be by poll. I'll now invite the representatives of the registrar to explain the e-voting process. Ms. Obi, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, my name is Augustina Obi, and I represent Coronation Registrars Limited, registrars to MTN Nigerian Communications PLC. Esteemed shareholders, please be informed that we have captured a total of 256 shareholders' voting details received by proxy and holding 17,269,735,245 units, representing 84.84% of the issued share capital. Hence, the voting results will be displayed in addition to the votes cast here today. When you came in this morning, you were provided with a voting device which we have configured to represent your shareholding in MTN Nigerian Communications PLC. After the resolutions have been read out, the shareholders are to cast their votes. Kindly look at your respective voting pads. The button 1A is for a yes vote, 2B is for a no vote, and 3C is for an abstain vote. Once the voting has commenced, please press the reference button in accordance with your decision. For shareholders voting using their mobile devices, please scan the QR code behind your admission card with your phone camera or visit vote.coronationregistrars.com on your phone browser. Select MTN Nigeria Communications PLC AGM. Type in your shareholder number provided during accreditation and press the login button. Ensure you accept the privacy policy and follow the prompt during voting. Once the voting section has commenced, the voting options for, against, and abstain will pop up on your device screen. Please click on the reference button in accordance with your decision. Also note that shareholders can change their votes during the voting period, but once the voting period has ended, the last button you pressed will be recorded as your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby move that the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2022, together with the reports of the directors, auditors, and audit committee as laid before members at this annual general meeting,
Mr. Chairman, I think you should go straight to item 2, declaration of dividend, because you are laying the annual report, you're not receiving it. It's to lay, and which you already done. So go to item 2 straight away for the voting.
I wish we just allow these things to flow. Let it flow. Please let it flow. I said I'll move that the financial statements as laid before members at this AGM be received and adopted. Okay. Is that the wish of shareholders? Okay. We now go to item 2 on the agenda to declare a dividend. I hereby move that a dividend payment in the total sum of 203 billion, 500 million naira, which translates to 10 naira per 2 kobo ordinary share, to shareholders whose names appear in the company register of members at the close of business on Monday, 27th March 2023, bringing the total dividend of the year ended 31st December 2022 to 15 naira 60 kobo, subject to withholding tax, be and is hereby approved. Will someone please second the motion? Lady, yeah, who is standing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Alaja Ayodele Kudaisi. I so second that motion.
Thank you very much, Alaja. We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please, let's be reminded, for those using their mobile devices, you can visit vote.coronationregistrars.com to log in and be able to vote. The voting period shall last 15 seconds. The voting has now commenced. Five seconds left. The voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we collate and display the votes. Thank you.
Registrar, the name once again is Igrude Moses. You gave us that we should use our phone. You wait for people to do login first before you said this thing.
Apologies, please.
So should we repeat the voting
Yes.
now? Thank you.
Okay, so we are given 2 minutes to please log in, if that is okay. Okay, so you can log out if you are already logged in before. Just log out and log in again. You would be able to vote, please. Can we go to vote.coronationregistrars.com? Please, let's try again, please.
We should revote. Registrar, are we to vote again? Okay, can we go on now, please? Are we okay? Shall we proceed, please? Okay.
Registrar, can you please make clear what you'd like us to do so we can move forward, please?
Yes.
Are we revoting now? Is it then
Yes,
state that
yes,
it's
please.
open
We are revoting.
and we move forward,
Yes,
please?
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have 15 seconds to vote, please. The voting has now commenced.
Good afternoon, everyone. Some of us came in late after the questions were collated. But since I'm here, I have the opportunity. I thought I should ask my question. The
meeting is going on. It's for all of you. The question I want to ask is for the benefit of all of you.
No. Madam, AGM has a standard procedure.
But please, sir.
Please, you can ask the CEO questions after that. He will wait for you to answer them.
All right.
Please, we are voting at the moment, please.
I've voted.
We don't want to disrupt that voting process.
That's okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, please, we will have to wait while we discuss.
Registrar, has the voting closed and can we move forward, please?
Yes, please. Please display the results. Okay. We have 910 shareholders holding 17,287,564,617 holdings who have voted in favor of the resolution. No shareholder abstained against the resolution. One shareholder holding 630 units voted abstained from the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Registrar. I hereby declare that the motion has been carried. At this point, I wish to invite Mrs. Tomi Adepoju of KPMG Advisory Services to read the report of the independent consultants to the board on the appraisals for the year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the Board of Directors of MTN, distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I now read the report of the independent consultants to the Board of Directors of MTN Nigeria Communications PLC on the appraisal for the year ended 31st of December 2022. In compliance with the guidelines of Section 5.1c of the Nigerian, I'm on page 127 of the annual report. Page 127. In compliance with the guidelines of the Section 5.1c of the Nigerian Communications Commission Code of Corporate Governance for the Telecommunications Industry, the NCC Code, and Section 14.1 of the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018, MTN Nigerian Communications engaged KPMG Advisory Services to carry out an appraisal and corporate governance evaluation of the Board of Directors for the year ended 31st of December 2022. The codes require the Board of Directors to carry out a formal and rigorous evaluation of its own performance, that of its committees, the chairman and individual directors, as well as an annual corporate governance evaluation to ascertain the extent of application of the codes of corporate governance. We have performed the procedures agreed with MTN Nigeria in respect of the appraisal of the board and evaluation of its compliance with the corporate governance requirements in accordance with the provisions of the codes. These procedures, which are limited in scope but sufficient for the board's objectives in line with the codes, are different in scope from an external audit. Consequently, no opinion is expressed by us on the activities reported upon. Our approach to the appraisal of the board and evaluation of the board's corporate governance practices involved a review of the board's papers and minutes, key corporate governance structures, policies, and practices. This also included the review of the corporate governance framework and representations obtained from questionnaires, interviews with members of the board and senior management. On the basis of our review, the company's corporate governance practices are in compliance with the key provisions of the codes of corporate governance mentioned above. Specific recommendations for further improving the company's corporate governance practices are included in our detailed reports to the board. These include recommendations on directors' training and enhancements to governance documentations. This report was signed by me, Tomi Adepoju, on the 10th of March, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Adepoju. We now come to item 3 on the agenda to re-elect Mr. Mazen Moru as a director of the company. Mr. Mazen Moru was appointed as non-executive director by the board of directors since the last annual general meeting of the company and is presented at this annual general meeting for approval. I hereby move that Mr. Mazen Moru be and is hereby elected a director of the company. Will someone please second the motion? There is a lady in yellow at the back.
I think the chairman has called the lady in yellow at the back to second the motion.
At the back.
Yes, the microphone is with her. Please leave the brand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is the lady walking to the front, please? She looks like MTN itself.
Check.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me the opportunity. The name is Williams Grace Nwakego. I support the motion.
We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The voting period shall last 15 seconds. The voting has now commenced. The voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we collate and display the votes. Thank you. We have 906 shareholders holding 17,260,795,049 units, representing 99.85%, who have voted in favor of the resolution. 9 shareholders holding 26,703,876 units, holding 0.15%, voted against the resolution. 5 shareholders holding 4,306 units abstained from the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been carried. Esteemed shareholders, items 4.1 and to the 4.5 propose the re-election of the retiring directors. As I'm one of the directors presented for re-election at this meeting, permit me to invite Dr. Mobola Johnson, non-executive director, to preside during this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. The next item on the agenda is to re-elect directors. 5 directors are retiring at this meeting in accordance with the Articles of Association, and being eligible, they have offered themselves for re-election. They are Dr. Ernest Ndukwe, Mr. Carl Toriola, Mr. Mudukwe Kadri, Mr. Ferdinand Moolman, and Mrs. Ifweko M. Omoegwe Okaru. The first director presented for re-election is Dr. Ernest Ndukwe. I hereby move that Dr. Ernest Ndukwe, 74, be and is hereby re-elected a director of the company. Would someone please second the motion? Can we have the gentleman in blue with the red cap, please? On the other side, yes.
No? Thank you very much, the presiding chairman. My name is Moses Ayodele Ogundeji. I hereby support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ogundeji. We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, ma'am. The voting period shall last 15 seconds. The voting has commenced. Voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we display the votes. We have 910 shareholders holding 17,260,775,235 holding, representing 99.84% who have voted in favor of the resolution. 11 shareholders holding 26,796,304 units holding 0.16% voted against the resolution. 4 shareholders holding 3,256 units abstained from the resolution. Thank you.
I hereby declare that Dr. Ernest Ndukwe is duly re-elected. The second director presented for re-election is Mr. Carl Olutokun Toriola. I hereby move that Mr. Carl Olutokun Toriola be and is hereby re-elected a director of the company. Would someone please second the motion? Now the gentleman in the blue in front. Yes, no, you sir, yes, yes, yes sir.
Thank you, madam. My name is Gani Saka. I second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Saka. We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, madam. Voting period shall last 15 seconds. Voting has commenced.
Standard disruptors,
5 seconds left. Voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we collate and display the votes. We have 909 shareholders holding 17,260,791,000 804 holdings, representing 99.85%, who have voted in favor of the resolution. 16 shareholders holding 26,783,100 units, representing 0.15%, voted against the resolution. 4 shareholders holding 1,240 units abstained from the resolution.
Thank you. I hereby declare that Mr. Carl Olutogun Toriola is duly re-elected. The third director presented for re-election is Mr. Modupe Kadri. I hereby move that Mr. Modupe Kadri be and is hereby re-elected a director of the company. Will someone please second the motion? Yes, please, madam.
I, Temitayo Okunore Makindikpe, hereby second the motion.
We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, madam. Voting shall last 15 seconds, please. Voting has commenced. Voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we collate and display the votes. A total of 901 shareholders holding 17,260,762,535 units and representing 99.84% voted in favor of the resolution. 21 shareholders holding 26,801,580 units representing 0.16% voted against the resolution. 7 shareholders holding 12,066 units abstained from the resolution. Thanks.
I hereby declare that Mr. Modupe Kadri has been duly re-elected. The fourth director presented for re-election is Mr. Ferdinand Moolman. I hereby move that Mr. Ferdinand Moolman be and is hereby re-elected a director of the company. Would someone please second the motion? The lady in white, please. The lady in white. Thank you. Yes, you. Yes. Yes, you, madam. Yes.
Thank you, madam. My name is Patience. I second the motion.
Thank you. We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, madam. The voting shall last 15 seconds. Voting has commenced, please. Voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we collate and display the votes. We have 904 shareholders holding 17,260,782,732 units and representing 99.85% who have voted in favor of the resolution. 17 shareholders holding 26,779,484,000 and representing 0.15% voted against the resolution. 8 shareholders holding 13,965 units abstained from the resolution. Thank you.
I hereby declare that Mr. Ferdinand Moolman is duly re-elected. The fifth director presented for re-election is Mrs. Ifweko M. Omoigwe Okaru. I hereby move that Mrs. Ifweko M. Omoigwe Okaru be and is hereby re-elected a director of the company. Would someone please second the motion? We'll go to the far side. The gentleman in the grey, yes, yes, in the grey. Yes, you, sir, yes. Thank you. Yes, you sir, in the grey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My names are Ali Ayanwale Sikiru. I hereby second the motion.
Thank you. We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam. The voting period shall last 15 seconds. Voting has commenced. Voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we display the votes. $905 shareholders holding 17,234,209,558 units, representing 99.69%, voted in favor of the resolution. 19 shareholders holding 53,332,230 units and representing 0.31% voted against the resolution. 6 shareholders holding 34,603 units abstained from the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I hereby declare that Mrs. Ifweko M. Omoegwu Okaru is duly re-elected. Esteemed shareholders, I thank you for the honor of presiding over this session. I now hand over to our chairman, Dr. Ernest Ndukwe, and congratulate him on his re-election.
Thank you, esteemed shareholders, for approving the re-election of retiring directors. I also want to thank Dr. Mobola Johnson for doing such a good job of presiding over this section, that section of our proceedings. The next item on the agenda is to authorize directors to fix the remuneration of auditors. Mrs. Ernst & Young have indicated their willingness to continue in office. CAMA requires that their remuneration be fixed by the company in general meeting or in such a manner as the company in general meeting may determine. I hereby move that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the auditors for the year ended 31st December 2023. Would someone please second the motion?
This way. Mr. Chairman, this way. Chairman, this way.
There's an elder somewhere amongst us, Chief Shotunde Shokpeju. Is he there? Oh, Baba has gone. Okay.
The chairman, board of directors, all other protocols observed. The name is Chief Shotunde Shokpeju, a small boy at night. I, Chief Shotunde Shokpeju, hereby second that motion after due consideration. From now onwards, when I am coming to NTM, I will wear the yellow because that is the language the chairman hears. Yellow, that is yellow color.
Thank you very much, Chief. God bless you.
An old T&T man.
Okay. You're in the profession. We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 15 seconds of the voting period. Voting has commenced. Voting has closed. Please remain patient while we display the votes. $923 shareholders holding 17,287,545,475 units, representing 100%, voted in favor of the resolution. 6 shareholders holding 829 units voted against the resolution. 5 shareholders holding 31,006 units abstained from the resolution. Thank you.
I hereby declare that the motion has been carried. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is to disclose the remuneration of managers of the company by Section 238 of CAMA. Every company shall at each annual general meeting disclose the remuneration of the managers of the company. The disclosure on the compensation of managers of the company is contained on page 209 of the annual report. The directors hereby disclose that the remuneration of the managers of the business for 2022 financial year was 7.16 billion naira. Distinguished shareholders, the next item on the agenda to consider and, if thought fit, to pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution of the company: that a general mandate be given to the company to enter into recurrent transactions with related parties for the company's day-to-day operations, including procurement of goods and services on normal commercial terms in accordance with the Nigerian Exchange Limited rules governing transactions with related parties or interested persons. Would someone please second the motion? The guy in blue.
Thank you, Chairman Ibru de Moses. I rise to second that motion. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The voting period will last 15 seconds. The voting has commenced. Please hold on, please. Please remain patient while the technical team fix whatever is wrong, please. I got a feedback that is a network problem. Please exercise patience.
That's what he had last year.
Okay, the network seems to be off, so we can proceed with the voting, please. The voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we display the votes. We have 923 shareholders holding 17,260,863,227 units, representing 99.85%, who have voted in favor of the resolution. 9 shareholders holding 20,201,388 units, representing 0.12%, voted against the resolution. 5 shareholders holding 6,514,054 units, representing 0.04%, abstained from the resolution. Thank you.
I hereby declare that the motion has been carried. The next item on the agenda is to consider and, if thought fit, to pass the subjoined resolution 9.1 to 9.3 as special resolutions of the company. Would someone please second the motion? There's a lady there. Okay, you come.
Mr. Chairman, I rise to second the motion.
Thank
the
you.
name is Mrs. E.O. Obideyi.
Thank you, madam. We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Voting period shall last 15 seconds. Voting has commenced, please. Voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we collate and display the votes. $921 shareholders holding 17,234,268,769 units, representing 99.69% voted in favor of the resolution. 10 shareholders holding 45,625,606 units, representing 0.26%, voted against the resolution. 7 shareholders holding 7,684,5 546 units, representing 0.04%, abstained from the resolution. Thank you.
I hereby declare the motion has been carried. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is to consider and, if thought fit, to pass each of the subjoined resolutions 10A and subjoined resolutions 10B as special resolutions of the company. Would someone please second the motion?
My name is Godwin Ede. I so second as read by the chairman.
Thank you. We will now vote on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 15 seconds to vote, please. Voting has commenced. Voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we collate and display the votes. $937 shareholders holding 17,287,679,117 units, representing 100%, voted in favor of the resolution. 2 shareholders holding 14,190 units voted against the resolution. 1 shareholder holding 21 units abstained from the resolution. Thank you.
I hereby declare that the motion has been carried. Thank you. We will now go straight to the election of members of the Statutory Audit Committee. And in accordance with Section 404(3) of CAMA, the Audit Committee shall consist of 5 members comprising 3 shareholders and 2 non-executive directors. Consequently, the following directors will represent the Board of Directors on the Statutory Audit Committee. 1 is Mr. Ridwan Gesant, and 2, Mrs. Ifweko Omoigui Okauru. We have received a total of 51 nominations from shareholders, of which 21 were invalid and 30 valid. 21 nominees have withdrawn their candidacy. The remaining shareholder nominees for election as members of the Audit Committee are Mr. Nona Awo, Josephine Ewitat, Colonel Peters, Adeshino Olalekan Oladapo, Adebayo Abayomi, Ijaye Kunle Moses Idowu, Ajani Adekola, Salau Adebanjo. Peter Eyanuku. Company Secretary, maybe you guide how this should go on.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I call on Mrs. Augustina Obi of Coronation Registrar to please give the guidance regarding this section.
Thank you, Madam. Esteemed shareholders, the audit committee election will be done by voting electronically, not by show of hands. The election will be done and results displayed. We are going to use the same voting pattern that we used for the
please, may I just clarify what, let me just clarify what the registrar has said. I'm sure all our shareholders are conversant with the new Business Facilitation Act, which allows electronic, not poll votes. We are not doing a poll vote, just to clarify. It is electronic votes. You will use the same devices and it's just going to show a count. It is not a poll vote.
Chairman, observation, sir. Let me clarify things. Chairman, observation. Mr. Chairman, the law says when it came for audit committee election, it's by show of hands. And the registrar and the auditors will count. The law says 3 times you vote. That's all. You capture them. Whether they are 15 or 20, 3 times by show of hand. There's nothing electronically in this audit committee election. By show of hand, Mr. Chairman. By show of hand.
Mr. Kezie.
It's by show of hand.
Hello, Mr. Kezie. Thank you very much. Please, I encourage you to look at the Business Facilitation Act. We are not doing a poll vote. I repeat, we are not doing a poll vote. May I suggest that we all... Okay, I can't explain anything now. I don't have... Please meet the registrar. Thank you very much, shareholders. Your point has been noted, but just to emphasize that the law allows it, but we'll proceed by a show of hands. I hope that is okay, but please go and note that for your other companies, and I'm advising free of charge, that the law, the Business Facilitation Act, which came into force in February this year, has actually amended the section of CAMA that you are referring to. So you can see that your company secretary is giving you free advice. Thank you.
Can you show
can go by voting. We have to go by showing of hands. We want this election to go by showing.
Please, can the registrar and external auditors act as scrutineers for this section so we can move on? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. So, esteemed shareholders, so we would be voting by show of hands.
Yes. Okay, so
please excuse me. Please excuse me. This thing will take so much time to do, and there's no need for it. Let's use the poll system. Sorry, in voting, there's no poll. All of you have this thing. It will only take us a few minutes to do.
With the permission of the chairman, I want chairman to understand that from the word go, we have been voting by show of hand. I don't see reason why this time around we should go by this type of device. So therefore, it should be by way of show of hand. Thank you.
And please take your seats. Take your seats. No more. Let's do a quick. Let's make it by democratic means now. Those who want us to use the electronic voting, can you show? You see, most people want electronic voting. Ladies and gentlemen, please, we are doing the electronic voting. Thank you very much. Please settle down. We are doing the electronic voting. No, we are doing the electronic voting. Please sit down. All of you have this pad with you. We have to finish time and go. Please, what's her name? Ms. Obi.
Yes, sir.
Please, can you go ahead with the election, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Okay, esteemed
Let's do
shareholder.
that quickly. Thank you.
Okay, so we are taking it one by one, starting with Mr. Nona Awo. Please, can we press our keypads and vote? We have 15 seconds. There is a
you're only allowed to vote one man, one vote. Let's go ahead and vote for the first candidate. One man, one vote.
The voting has ended, please.
3 times. Yeah. One man, one vote, but 3 times.
Hold on, please. The next candidate is Josephine Ewitad. We can go ahead and vote, please.
Have we voted for our?
may I ask, please? Thank you. Please, may I ask the registrar to announce the names clearly?
Clearly.
So that everyone can vote.
All right, thank you, madam. We are starting all over, please. So we are starting with Mr. Nona Awu. Please, can you step forward, sir?
Will you go and help her there? Just go there.
Okay, let's proceed, please, for Mr. Nona Awu.
When does the voting start? Say when the voting starts.
You have 15 seconds, please. Voting has now ended. Please remain patient while we display the vote.
She's so unsure.
Can we please display the vote? We have 110 shareholders who have voted in favor of Mr. Nonawu. 16 shareholders voted against the nominee. Thank you. The next nominee,
next one, please.
The next person is Josephine Ewitat. Please, can you raise your hand for recognition? Voting will last 15 seconds. Voting has commenced, please.
Are we interested in that? Yeah.
Voting has closed. Please remain patient while we display and collect.
118. It is.
Can we please display the votes?
You just displayed.
We have 121 shareholders who have voted for Mrs. Josephine Ewitat. 4 shareholders voted against her. Thank you. The next person on the list is Colonel Ayagbeni Peters. Please, can you step forward and show your hands for recognition, sir? Voting shall last 15 seconds. Voting has commenced. Voting has now closed. Can we please display the result? We have 85 shareholders who have voted in favor of the nominee. and 30 shareholders voted against him. Thank you. The next person on the list is Adeshino Olaleko Oladeko. Voting shall last 15 seconds. Voting has commenced. Voting has closed. Please display the results. Can we display the votes, please? We have 47 shareholders who have voted in favor of the nominee and 70 shareholders voted against. Thank you. The next shareholder on the list is Mr. Adebayo Oluwafemi Abayomi. Please step forward. You have 15 seconds for the voting period. Voting has commenced, please. Voting has closed. Can we please display the votes? We have 55 shareholders who have voted in favor of the nominee and 62 shareholders voted against Mr. Adebayo Oluwafemi. Thank you. The next shareholder on the list is Ijayekunle Moses Idowu. Please, can you step forward? Ijayekunle Moses Idowu. We have the next person at Oh, okay. Sorry, please. The voting has commenced. 15 seconds, please. Voting has closed. Can we publish the results, please? Please display the results. We have 34 shareholders who have voted in favor of the nominee and 62 shareholders voted against Mr. Ijayekunle Moses. Thank you. The next on the list is Ajani Musa Adekola. The voting shall last 15 seconds. Voting has commenced. Voting has ended. Thank you. Can we display the votes, please? Can we display the votes, please? 37 shareholders voted for Ajani Musa, while 71 shareholders voted against him. Next on my list is Salah Mohammed Adebajo. Voting shall last 15 seconds. The voting has commenced. The voting has ended. Please display the votes. We have 53 shareholders who have voted in favor of Mr. Salau, while 66 shareholders voted against Mr. Salau. Thank you. The last on the list is Peter Eyanuku. We have 15 seconds to vote. Voting has commenced. Voting has ended. Can we publish the results, please? We have 51 shareholders voting in favor of Mr. Peter, while 59 shareholders voted against Mr. Peter Eyanuku. Can we display the votes, please?
Please, can you announce the results, please?
Can we display the votes, please? The total vote counts for everyone.
Let's finish the meeting now. What do you want to do? They want to take picture. Let's finish the thing.
Please remain patient while we collate and display.
No, there is no collation. Just say the people with it.
For everyone, we need to say it.
You want to publish it?
Yes, sir.
I read.
Hold on, please, while we publish the results. Okay, so this is a summary of the votes cast for the nominees. We have...
I think, Registrar, there's an error in Mr. Nonawo's vote.
Hold on, please. Please remain patient while they fix it. It will be rectified.
Yeah.
Okay, so for Mr. Nona, if you remember, we did it twice. Apologies. So this is the result of the second one for him. Looking at the list, we have Mr. Nona, who 110 shareholders voted for him, while 16 voted against. Mrs. Josephine Ewitat had a total of 121 shareholders who voted for her, while 4 voted against her. Then Colonel Ayegbemi Peters had a count of 85 shareholders voting in favor of him, while 30 shareholders voted against him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm happy that a lady is now a member of this committee. In addition to the other one. Based on the votes announced by the registrar, I hereby declare that Mr. Nona Awo, Josephine Ewitat, and Ayegbeni Peters are duly elected as representatives of shareholders in the Audit Committee of the company. And I also declare that the following are members of the Audit Committee of the company: Mr. Ridwan Gesan, Mrs. Ifueko Omogi Okaru, and the names that I've just mentioned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes the business of the meeting. I'd like to thank you all for attending the meeting and for showing interest in the affairs of the company. I also thank you for your understanding in making sure that we did electronic voting for that last item. At least people can appreciate the power of technology. Once again, I express my thanks to all those who were able to attend this meeting, and gratitude to all of you, the shareholders and other stakeholders who joined the meeting virtually. I wish you all a safe journey back to your respective destinations. May I ask Alhaji Kabiru Tambari to please give us the closing prayers.
Microphone, please. Please switch on the microphone for Alhaji. Microphone, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وسلم. I pray Almighty Allah to help us, to help our leaders, to help our grateful company, to help the shareholders, to help the insecurity we are facing in this country. I pray God Almighty Allah to intervene on it, also to return us to our various destinations safely. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
National anthem, please.
my guy, my brother, my blood. We no get wetin fall from sky, we ground no fit collect. You know now, we have been through a lot. And we're still standing strong, nothing dey happen. You don't forget, together we overcame monsters. Found our own way through the dark with our own light. Never stayed on our knees when the world brought us down. And when hunger tigele, we found a way through the tough times. Battled the darkness with hope. And survived the heartbreak of loss. You see, all these things have made us unbreakable, unstoppable. So guy, shake off that bad vibe. Face that challenge with your full chest. Because this life, now we go run up together. Nothing do you.
Oh, I wish you were here.
I'm always with you.
But it's not the same without you.
MTN 5G's amazing technology will change how we experience life and the internet. Get ready to encounter the incredible. And remember, no be juju, na MTN 5G.